Green light. Go, 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 go.
welcome to Donington Park and welcome to the World Sim Series GT3 Championship. We're towards the end of the qualifying session here around the historical place that hosted the Formula One Grand Prix about 30 to 35 years ago. But now it is one of the most popular tracks in Britain, and well, it's a very popular venue for GT3 race cars as well. 18 cars at the moment on the circuit, the quickest lap time at the moment, and the only car into the 1 minute 25s is Simonas Urbanas, closely followed by Laurinas Razas, just 1/10 of a second behind. And as always, here on World Sim Series, I'm joined by Laurinas.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this second round of the new championship. It's getting hotter and hotter. The second round will greet us with 18 teams in total. We've seen plenty of action in the first run, and hopefully we will have an exciting race this afternoon. Qualifying session is about to end, and currently Simonas Urbanas holds the first position strongly. Sean Clark Racing. Simonas is currently also, Sean Clark Racing, to be exact, is currently the championship leaders at the moment, and it's looking pretty good for the team in this upcoming race, which is about to start as soon as the qualifying session ends.
Coming, Laurinas Razas, he is improving.
Yep.
1 minute 7 and going around that super slow hairpin. A good overtaking opportunity come race time. Laurinas Razas improving by 1/10 of a second at the moment. That might be enough or might not be enough for pole. Now 2/10 coming out of the final turn. It's still showing purple on our screens. Now down to green. It's not enough by just 0.5 of a second. It looked like so good for a moment. Dave Sparktronics coming into the chicane. He's 1/10 down on his fastest time. Now 0.5 second down, and I think he's going to abort this one. And it doesn't look like we've got any other cars in with a shot at pole at the moment.
Actually, none of them, and Dave Sparktronics is currently the lone little runner on the racetrack. I believe Ines Klimavic is also on the circuit, but if he is, then he's certainly on a really slow lap. So that's about it. The qualifying session has come to an end. And let's take a look if we will get the opportunity to take a closer look at the results. Session will start in 1 minute, and let's try and figure out the possible way how we can just take a look at the starting grid. Okay, let's do it the old way. Let's have a look at the live timing window on the World Sim Series platform, and Gustas Grimbergas will announce you with our current grid.
So, it is Simonas Urbanas on pole for the second time in a row. Laurinas Razas is going to take P2. Mitskavicius in P3, then Gniva in 4th. 5th for Grudinus. 6th for Kristolaitis Tunila in 7th. 8th for Leaf. Then we've got Butvilla in 9th. 10 for Dave Sparktronics. Odrus Klopkines in 11th. 12 for Mantas Simonas. 13 for Dave Beckett. 14 for Maxime Jordi. Luca Poinelli in 15th. 16 for Ines Klimavicius. And we've got 2 more cars a little bit lower down the field. Mary Ballas in 17th and Justinas Getsavicius in 18th spot. That rounds out your grid.
So the first and the last car are separated by 2 seconds, which is a decent gap. So we might see some traffic situations in today's race where our leaders might have to deal with the slower cars while coming into traffic. So that's something to have in consideration for all the drivers, to be cautious, especially if there will be some situations presented where some battles will be taken place for the lead of this round.
There is, of course, a championship that is still on the line. We're only in round 2, so there's all the possibilities for a change at the top of the standings. It is Simonas Urbanas who dominated the last time out at Suzuka. This time out, it does look like the grid is quite a bit closer. Obviously, the track is shorter, so it is a different challenge for the drivers. It's going to be Laurinas Razes on the front row together with Simonas Urbanas, who's going to try to make amends from last time out. Last time, obviously, it was a race very much dominated by Simonas Urbanas, who started from pole and lost the lead actually into turn 1, but then continued to, but then got in front and never looked back throughout the whole of the race.
I'm trying to figure out if there is a ballast system presented in this championship. Can't find anything about it, so I believe there is no BOP for the top 3 finishers of the races. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that would mean that the driver who finished first doesn't well get heavier, and well, he is not slowed down to make those races a little bit more competitive. So Simonas Urbanas will have all the great chances to win this race, as we are on the grid about to go green.
Green light. Go, go, go.
And it looks like they're off this time. Simonas Urbanas doesn't make the mistake that he made last time out. It looks like Laurinas Razes has had a horrible start coming down into turn 1, but and he's lost an even further place. He's now down to 4th position with Matas Minskevicius in 2nd, Donington Park up to 3rd. Last time out, it was Alex Leaf who took 2nd place, and he's going to try and come back from 9th. He is at the moment, so 2nd place in the championship, 9th on the road right now. The McLaren, it looks like a very strong car. The Porsche, again, looks like a very, very strong car. We saw that at Suzuka. We see it here at Donington as well. It did look like the McLarens just had a bit of an advantage down the straights. The Porsches had the advantage through the turns. This track, well, it does have a lot of turns, but it does have a few straights as well, and especially here coming into the hairpin, you've got quite a straight line before, then you've got that chicane, and then the very hard hairpin. This is a very good overtaking opportunity. Interestingly enough, everybody gets through quite cleanly, because you can really send it from afar, and coming into the final hairpin as well, you can try and make a move into there.
Tauras Sunila made up 2 places after the start. Now he's running 5th. Domantas Graudinis is right on his tail. 2 Porsches, actually a lot of Porsches. That's 4 Porsches in a row, starting from P4. It might be even 5. I cannot see that clearly, but good start by Tauras Sunila. He managed to pick up 2 places right from the start, and it looks like he's on a good pace, so maybe he had difficulties or some issues during the qualifying session to put in a faster lap time. We usually see Tauras Sunila driving in those top places, so that might be some issues issues related for Toros Tonila to start from P7. He's trying to chase down what should be his teammate. Laurinas Razas is down to 4th. So Laurinas Razas lost 2 places, and it looks like we have a move into position 2. That's Domantas Kniva gaining a position on Matas Mickevičius, Laurinas Razas.
The Laurinas Razas, who's right behind, and he's gonna go down the inside into the hairpin. Ooh, it looks like Matas Mickevičius went wide, and that's a chance for Toros Tonila to come through as well. Slight nudge on the exit, telling him to get out the way. Because now we've got a Dream to Drive 2-3-4 hunting down the lone Simonas Urbanas in first place. Domantas Kniva in the McLaren. It looks like it's gotten the tires up to temp quite early. Looks like it's going at a pretty decent pace. This is a replay of what happened. So Laurinas Razas went to the inside, took the tire line, and then went to the inside for the other turn. And that was Mickevičius out braking himself, coming back onto the track, and Toros Tonila giving him a nudge. And Robin's racing in GT3s, and he just told him to get out the way at that point. Beautiful cut by Laurinas Razas. Looks very controlled, but also on the limit, touching the grass on the exit. Let's see if there's going to be some team orders here for Domantas Kniva to let Laurinas Razas through and give them a better chance of catching up to Simonas Urbanas, but it does look like the gaps are a little bit closer than what we saw last time out in Suzuka. And we'll see what happens at the end of this lap and what kind of lap times can we see from the drivers. Does look like quite a defensive line from Domantas Kniva. I don't know if that's just how the TV cameras pick it up. 26.5 from Simonas Urbanas, 26.8 from Domantas Kniva. So I think they might be thinking of a position switch as well. Toros Tonila as well, 26.5. So there might be thoughts of switching it around and seeing if somebody else can try and catch up. Actually, Simonas Urbanas had his last lap deleted, so Laurinas Razas has the fastest lap of the race right now, 26.7, 1 minute 26.7. And that's actually the only lap time that was valid from all of your top 5 runners, actually. So everybody else had their lap times deleted due to track limits. Laurinas Razas on the tail of Domantas Kniva again. Domantas Kniva still not letting go. We'll see if the team will be on the radio to him to just tell him to... Oh, looked like Laurinas Razas missed the apex there. He's now going to have to fight Toros Tonila. Toros Tonila to the inside at the hairpin. Like I said, you can really send it at the hairpin if you just get it stopped on the apex. Toros Tonila just about manages that. He's going to be on the inside coming into the final turn, and I think he's going to just about hold on. Yes, he does, and that doesn't give an opportunity to Mickevičius as well. So it's a switch of positions. Now Toros Tonila will be on the hunt for Domantas Kniva up in front, but looks like he just missed the apex of turn 1. Doesn't look as clean. Looks like Simonas Urbanas has got this very much under control at the moment, 26.4, and that beats the fastest lap set by Laurinas Razas last time out. It looks like finally everybody's getting clean laps in and having them and not making an excursion outside of track limits where your lap time gets deleted. So last time out, actually a good lap for everyone. Again, it looks like Toros Tonila just about missing those apexes. Laurinas Razas looks a lot cleaner in his driving. And now, again, we see a fight, but Laurinas Razas will be smart here. He's going to have to wait, and he wants to wait because their goal is to catch up. Domantas Kniva first, and then maybe, if possible, Simonas Urbanas, but down to the inside. He doesn't want to wait. I don't think he's going to make that move stick.
Well,
maybe just about.
Yep, he forced Tauras Tunila to run slightly wider. I believe Tauras went back onto the power a little bit early, and now we have a contact between Matas Mickevičius and Tauras Tunila, and Tauras is off the racetrack. I think he has just spun around, managed to keep it together, but now he's down into P8, battling with Alex Leaf just to try and stay 8th. But, well, that's how fast things can change when you come about racing a little bit too aggressive. Let's try and see if we can catch up with some replay. There's the start of it. So Laurynas Razas went to the inside. Tauras was
interesting to make that move, especially on a teammate to hold him up like that. Then Tauras tries to take it around the outside, and well, it doesn't work. And Matas Mickevičius tried to take the inside line there. They touched again, and well, this time Tauras was off. So position switch there, and Tauras down a few more places. Alex Leaf, by the way, like we said, 2nd place last time out. He's here to collect some more points coming through the season. The top 20 runners at the end of 5 rounds will be invited for the top 20 shootout. What will be the final round. So Alex Leaf, after a very good round 1, he's just here to collect some more points. Big battles going on. This is battling for 5th, and everybody trying to get through the hairpin. The 2 hairpins proving to be the preferred overtaking opportunity around the track. Tauras Tunila will want to get in on the action. There's also an opportunity down into turn 1. But to the outside, it's not going to work. To the inside, last minute. Nope, not enough. Actually, that was Gediminas Krikštaitis being pushed into a much later braking zone. Oh, Gediminas Krikštaitis opens up the inside. And, well, once you open up the inside there going down the hill, well, you're going to lose the spot whatever happens. And, well, you have to back out of it. It's not smart to try and keep going. Tauras Tunila up 1, now up to 7th. Chasing down Dainus Butvila, who's in P6. It's very much a Porsche fest. Looks like it's a lot of side-by-side between Krikštaitis and Leaf. Leaf wants to get that position, and Krikštaitis on the outside. Leaf to the inside. They've also got Dave Sparktronics, who wants to get in on the action. Leaf to the outside, coming down into the SS.
Free wide.
Trying to make it free wide. He thinks better of it, and he was right, because that was Krikštaitis off the road, it looked like, but...
Oh, and Tauras Tunila in some sort of trouble. He joins this battle. Did Tauras Tunila have another contact?
Maybe Tauras Tunila was the one off the road that I
believe
saw.
that was Gediminas Krikštaitis, but maybe Tauras Tunila was in a battle of his own, and it looks like he's also... he was also forced in some sort of mistake. As soon as this fight will settle down, we will try and catch up with the replay. So someone's coming off the pit lane, by the way. Yep, that's Tauras Tunila, so he got too close.
But I felt like Gediminas Krikštaitis just cut the chicane and got away with it.
Do they have? I think they have 3 warnings before they get a drive-through penalty. So maybe he's still within the limits of the times you can cut the corner. I believe there was a car that was exiting the pit lane.
I think that was Ainis Klimavičius.
Yep, it was Ainis Klimavičius, so he has made his mandatory pit stop completed quite early, actually.
Nah, I don't think that was part of the mandatory stop. I mean, it wasn't a planned mandatory stop, because he was held up for a long time. I'm sure it's in the mandatory stop window. Laurynas Razas, by the way, on your screens, getting past the Donington Park, who finally backs out of it, and now Laurynas Razas can go off to chase Simonas Urbanas, and wow, Donington Park into the pits, also very early. But could that be for a drive-through? Have a look.
Yep, so I believe you cannot do a mandatory pit stop sooner than 20 minutes into the race.
This is a drive-through. This is a drive-through for track limits. The first one we've seen today, and he comes out on the track very tight on pit exit. This pit exit being used as part of the racing line, but obviously the car on pit exit has priority. Maybe some people don't see it. Oh, to the inside, and he's on the attack immediately, side by side, down the hill. And I think Donington might just about be able to hold on. Yes, he does. Donington up into 15th after serving his penalty.
Yeah, if you can call that up into 15th, because he was running second, battling with Laurinas Brazas. We have a car which is off the racetrack. That's Dave Beckett running on the grass. This is car number 13, so let's try and catch up with what's happened with this Porsche.
Oh, did him himself. Just touched the grass and off he went, but what happened here?
Oh. He lost the wheel, I believe. While he was catching the car, he just lost the wheel out of his hands. That's why we've seen the car turn sharp to the right side. That's the only explanation I have right now. But he managed to keep it together finally, and he didn't clip the barriers, so he's back on the racetrack down to P17 and looking for some better luck next time.
By the way, Ines Kramavicius was stationary in the pit lane for about 2.5 minutes.
So maybe he had damage, because while looking into the rules, I believe that you cannot make a pit stop earlier than 20 minutes into the race, because the maximum driving time is 40 minutes. So
that has been removed, but
was it
no
removed?
Yes, because you can complete the race without a driver change.
Yeah, but maybe, well, if I read that correctly, that means that you have to reset your time no sooner than 40 minutes into the race. Maybe, well, that's what I think it is about. So that means you cannot make your mandatory pit stop earlier than 20th minute.
Yeah, but if you're stationary for 2.5, that's got to be repaired.
Yep, maybe he had damage. Maybe we missed some accident. Let's try and find it. That's car number 18, and yep, I think car number 18. Well, it had a couple. Well, actually, car number 18 had 4 accidents in total. So it looks like
up to 13th place. He's traveling up the order step by step. After that penalty, he was obviously running in second position at one point. And you were looking at the gaps on the left side. That was for the fastest laps. Now we're on to actual gaps, so 4 seconds for Laurinas Razas to Simonas Urbanas. That's your gap at the front.
Yep, I was wondering what's that about. Why do we see those gaps so small while they are bigger? So it was wrong information on the screens. Gusta's just made it correct. And you can see that Tauras Tunila is right on the tail of Alex Leaf. Actually, no. Alex Leaf has just been passed by Gediminas Krikštolaitis. Tauras Tunila is still on the tail of Dainius Butvila, but not making a move. And there's your runner-up car, another Porsche. Gediminas just took that 7th spot away of Alex Leaf.
They've been fighting for a long time. It's been like that from the start of the race. This is looking from the back of Dainius Butvila, who's got his rear mirrors full of Tauras Tunila and his mint-colored Porsche front end. Both of them in the 992 GT3Rs. Big run over the grass for both of them, but maybe a bit more for Dainius Butvila, who loses just that little bit more of time to Tauras Tunila, who wants to get back up into the top 5. He's been 3rd at one point, and big slide for both of them. Tauras Tunila over the grass, trying to make the move, and I think he does make the move. Dainius Butvila might want to back out of this one. Tauras clearly quicker, but no, he tries to hold on. Tauras tries the switchback, doesn't work, and Dainius Butvila fights to live another day. It is still Dainius in 5th. Tauras tried that optimistic move over the grass. He's been watching a little bit too much of Dakar, I think, recently, because that was a very interesting line to take. And he's going to have to find a way maybe to make a move on the circuit this time. This lap disallowed for Toros Tunila. I think they might just be getting a bit closer to some penalties. Looks like quite a few laps disallowed.
Well, he was 4 wheels off the racetrack while he was attempting that move. So maybe if he had that move stick, that might have been illegal, because you have to make that move on the race surface. And while these two guys were battling each other, that allowed Gediminas Krištolaitis and Alex Leaf come closer to these two fighting Porsches to make it a 4-car battle for position number 5, which currently belongs to Dainus Butvela. Well, as soon as these two guys stop battling each other and try to stick to their racing lines, it looks like they're slightly faster than the cars behind. And oh, Gediminas Krištolaitis runs wide. So
everybody runs wide.
It looks like
touch the grass. Toros Tunila touched the grass. Gediminas Krištolaitis touched the grass. I don't know if Alex Leaf touched the grass, but I'm willing to bet he did, looking at the free cars ahead of him. Again, a lot of cutting, really using all of the track, and well, we're only 20 minutes in, well, 18 and a half minutes into the race. See how much that will change as the race goes on. It does look to me like Toros Tunila is maybe a bit closer on the limit of how many track limits can he do, because he does look a little bit more careful when taking the curbs. Trying to make a move to the outside, because Dainus Butvela defended the inside into the hairpin. Again, Dainus Butvela looking a bit more defensive. Toros Tunila can open up his entry and then can have a bit of a better exit, but it won't be enough down into turn 1. It's not a long run, so you can't really utilize that much of a slipstream down into the first corner here at Donington Park.
Okay, just received some information from Race Control. Race Control is doing the job pretty nicely this afternoon. Small contact again between Dainus Butvela and Toros Tunila, while Toros tries to get back into P5 and maybe will be thinking about catching up with the drivers ahead, but he has to make that move stick first. We have a table from Race Control where we can follow up with penalties that might be handed out to the naughty drivers this evening. Oh, how late on the brakes. Toros Tunila again before that chicane of Donington Park. It was close, but it looks like he has the run now on Dainus. He has to think about the outside. Will Dainus Butvela outbrake himself?
Super wide, and I think he's going to lose 2 places at least here, but now back to the inside is Dainus coming into the final turn. On the outside is Gediminas Krištolaitis, who almost spun coming through the turn. Now they've got also Alex Leaf on their backs, and Dave Sparktronics, well, he's watching this from behind. Alex Leaf might try something. Gediminas Krištolaitis tried to scare Dainus Butvela into making a mistake. Didn't work.
Well, Toros Tunila on clean air right now, so he has the edge. He has to avoid mistakes. He's 5 seconds behind Dominykas Graudinis. Well, actually, that's 6.4 already, but he should have a good pace right now. He was really fast at the start of this race, but he didn't avoid problems, dropped back positions. He has to work that out again. But he's happy to see the guys battle it out further in his rear view mirrors. That means the drivers that are in a battle will take slower lines while defending or attacking. So Toros Tunila should get that free track for himself and and he will think only of what's happening in front and not behind, though Dainus Butvela is still, well, only 1 second behind the Porsche of Toros Tunila, and it looks like Toros is making some mistakes sometimes, so he's trying to push that car as hard as possible, and that's how you run into small mistakes which hurt your tires and hurt your performance slightly. Is Toros Tunil off the racetrack? Toros Tunil is in the pit lane.
Penalty?
Yep.
No, it's not a penalty because he's coming down into his pit box. He's making the mandatory stop.
Yep. We are 22 minutes into the race, so that's definitely a mandatory pit stop. He wants a clean track for himself. He will he will get back to the track all by himself, and he will not have to battle with other guys, so he will have the chance to concentrate on driving on his own.
He also gets a fresh new set of Pirelli tires onto his Porsche. That might be why he's pitting, trying to decrease that gap as quickly as possible with some sort of advantage, because he's probably quicker than Dominykas Graudinis in front of him. And if he can use those new tires to his advantage, he might just be able to jump him while others pit. Toros Tunil out of the pits, comes out into right in front of Simonas Urbanas, actually. So he's up, well, he's down into 16th after making his pit stop, but in front of Simonas Urbanas. Because a tire change is mandatory in these cars, so Toros Tunil has now clean air. He does have a new set of tires, so they need to get up to temperature, and if he can get them up to temperature before Simonas Urbanas catches up to him, he'll have a very nice and clean track to continue pushing on, because the next car ahead of him is 40 seconds in front.
By the way, Matas Mickevičius, who's currently third, has a 10-second penalty. I'm not sure if it's going to be served while he will make his pit stop, or the time will be added after the race. But this was because of the incident with Toros Tunil at the beginning of the race, 11 minutes. We've seen that battle into final corner. So Matas Mickevičius was on the blame for a bump overtake and making your rival spin out. So that might adjust the order that we are seeing now. Matas Mickevičius only 2.5 seconds ahead of Graudinis. So he will lose that position definitely as it stands now. Nice battle between Toros Tunil and Simonas Urbanas. This is not for a direct track position. It's because Toros Tunil took that mandatory pit stop early into the race, and Simonas Urbanas is still on the racetrack, so that's going to be a good comparison between these two drivers. I'm not sure.
Something to note, Toros Tunil was stationary for 45 seconds. Gediminas Krikštolaitis, who pitted a lap after, or 2 laps after, a lap after, he was stationary for 31 seconds. So
that's interesting.
13 seconds lost, and Toros Tunil was actually in front of Gediminas Krikštolaitis. Gediminas Krikštolaitis made his stop, and now is in front.
Well, it's mandatory to change your tires during the pit stop, so that's the same for all the drivers, but might they be on a different fuel strategy? Not sure how it is done in ACC, but well, you can start your race with the amount of fuel enough to finish the race, so you need only to change the tires during the pit stop, but others might start the race with a low fuel tank and then fuel up during the pit stop, but that might add time during the pit stop. Might that be a possibility?
If you lose 12 seconds during a pit stop, you're never going to regain that time back on
but
track.
That might be, well, maybe not all the drivers are aware of that, and maybe that
I'm sure Toros Tunil would be aware of.
You know, they raced
off the track.
They raced an endurance race with one set of tires, so you never know.
Right. Yep, you're correct. Maybe he wants to save fuel.
Yeah.
With a lighter car, you're consuming less fuel. I think that could be a mistake of something else.
Oh, just getting confirmation of our lovely race control that the penalties will be handed out after the race. So that means Matas Mickevičius will be on the race as it is right now. He will not have to take a longer pit stop. He will just have to try and build up that gap. I'm not sure if the drivers are aware of the penalties while they are racing.
I don't think, well, only if they had the sheet in front of their eyes.
Yep, maybe if there's no possibility to push out messages to the drivers during the race, that means Matas Mickevičius is racing without knowing about the penalty that he received. So, well, he doesn't know that he needs to push slightly harder to try and protect the position that he's currently at, but actually he's being chased down by Dominikas Graudinis because the gap is always coming down.
Alex Lee down onto pit road. A very, very slow pit road here at Donington Park, just 50 kilometers per hour.
And that leaves out Dave Sparktronics, Dainus Butvila and Mantas Samulonis leaving on the racetrack without the Porsche of Alex Lee involved at this moment. They should meet again while all of the drivers make their mandatory pit stops, which should happen at the 40th minute latest into this race. Justinas Gedzevičius is currently up into 11th position. He's trying to chase down Dave Beckett. This is a battle for P10, and guess what? Yet another two Porsches 911 992 GT3R, the brand new Porsche chassis. They look beautiful, and it looks like they do the job really good on the racetracks, not only on the real ones but also on the virtual tracks. I think this is a choice that Gustas Grimbergas would choose if he would be racing in this championship.
Most likely, yes. You'd still have to look at the BOP, right?
Yeah.
You have to test, see which cars performing best. The World Sim Series team does a great job at balancing the cars, but there's always one car that just has that slight advantage. Looks like people are testing and they're seeing that the Porsche has that slight advantage here, or at least if you take it all over the season, right? If you know that the car is going to perform well throughout the season, you're going to choose that car. Because there will be cars that will be very strong at certain tracks. At a place like Monza, you'd want a car that's much better down the straights. At a place like here, Donington Park, you'll want a car that's much better around the turns, or even Suzuka.
What about this championship? Do you have the ability to race every race with a new manufacturer, or you have to stick up with a car that you have chosen for your first round?
I'm not sure.
Trying to figure this out because, well, it's always different from series to series in the World Sim Series platform. I remember championships where you had to stick with the manufacturer you have chosen for the first round, and we had championships where you had the ability to race any manufacturer you like for every race, giving the drivers the ability to figure out the best car and track combination.
Dom Teskniva has made his pit stop, and he's 7.7. Well, was 7.7, now a bit less behind Toras Tonila. If you remember, he had that drive-through penalty earlier on in the race. Simonas Urbanas, your race leader, is now down onto pit road to make his pit stop. And coming off of pit road right now, let's see where he rejoins the track. It's always interesting to see, and we're comparing him to Laurinas Razas. Actually, let's see the pit stop time. Laurinas Razas gained about 3 seconds there in that pit stops. He's pulled the gap down. We do have confirmation that you can switch cars between rounds, so forget what I said about choosing the best car for the whole season. choose the best car that you can find for the track. The gap to P1, and now actually Simonas Urbanas needs to get his tires up to temperature as well, trying to not force it too much. If you try and overdrive the tire, a new tire especially, it's going to grain up. And it's going to become quite unusable. But he does need to push because Laurinus Rasas is just 2.9 seconds behind. 2.6 seconds behind, so gaining a few tenths a corner until Simonas Urbanas can get his tires up to temperature. This is a good chance for Laurinus Rasas, who had a quicker pit stop, really cutting the curbs, really trying to put pressure on Simonas Urbanas and gaining that time, trying to get Simonas Urbanas to ruin his tires up in front. Daniel Budzvilla is still staying out on track. He's hoping to take the strategy of go as long as you can and try and push at the very end with a brand spanking new set of tires. Maybe he's confident that it's quite easy to overtake even if he does lose a position. Toras Tunila up to 10th with car spinning. He's gotten in front of Dave Sparktronics. He's about 8.5 seconds behind Alex Leaf, who he did overtake earlier on, or at least was in the same battle with him earlier on. Car in front of him is a lapped car, and he's going to go up to 9th position now as Poinelli takes his mandatory pit stop. I wonder who that is actually in front. That is, I think, Enes Klimavic.
Yep, I believe it is. And he's running wide, and well, he finally gave room for the cars behind because he's being waved down by a blue flag. And it looks like that gave a little bit of room behind Toras Tunila. Dave Sparktronics just made it looks like he made a small mistake, though it looks like he's on a slightly better lap time than his previous one.
This is Domantas Kniva, who's trying to catch up to Mantas Samudonis. Actually caught up 55 seconds because Mantas Samudonis was in the pit, so that information is quite useless there, but very much closing down on Mantas Samudonis, who's got his new tires up to at least somewhat of a working window here. Laurinus Rasas, by the way, 2.4 seconds still behind Simonas Urbanas. We'll see if he can start closing that gap down. 2.1 now, so maybe a mistake by Simonas Urbanas. No, back to 2.4. The Domantas Kniva tries the outside into the hairpin. He's going to go try and switch it back. No, he's not, but he, I think, going to try and make a move into the final turn and overtake the Ferrari in front. Nope, doesn't make a move again.
Oh, he was aiming at a better exit, but it looks like he got on the power a little bit too early and lost the back end. We have a car exiting the pit lane, and remember, Domantas Kniva was running second at the beginning of the race before he received that drive-through penalty. Now his race is a nightmare, and even though he has the pace advantage, well, it's not the easiest task to overtake your rival on the Donington Park circuit, where, well, all those corners are basically mid-speed corners. So you have to wait out till those longer braking zones, like we have at the final section of the racetrack. So you have to be really close to your rival, and you have to nail the chicane that we are currently approaching. So that should be the task of Domantas Kniva, to just try and be as close to the tail of your rival as possible, and he didn't make it, so he's too far behind, coming into that biggest braking zone, and almost into the back goes Domantas Kniva. He has to stay behind, and look how much he's losing on the exit. So that means he's pushing a little bit too hard on the entries of the corner, and that's not allowing him to be closer to his rival at the end of the straights. And that just shows how frustrated the driver is, who did have a great start, and now he's stuck. And actually it's, well, becoming a nightmare. The time is coming to an end. Only 23 minutes of race time on the clock, and you're 11th, 1.1 seconds behind the car in front, and actually almost 10 seconds behind P9. So it looks like the driver is not happy about it, and is not capable of avoiding mistakes.
Right. I'm very interested here. I just noticed this. So everyone's pit stops is somewhere in the 30-second range, right? From 32 to 40, let's say. We had that 44-second pit stop from Toras Tunila, which would put him way down the order. Dainius Butvila had a 16-second pit stop.
That
How do you explain a
is it fuel related? How can you make a pit stop with a tire change?
You have to change tires.
Yep,
right?
you have to change all 4 tires. You cannot change 2 tires. You have to change 4 tires. So that's suspicious, actually. This is really suspicious.
Maybe he hired a better pit crew.
Maybe Justinas Gidzavicius, he is also one of the drivers with those shorter pit stops, so that has to be explained for us to know what's that about.
Also a 16.5, 16.8 from Butvila, 16.5 from...
Let's try and...
It's a very big difference between the 16-second pit stop from Dainius Butvila and the 44-second pit stop from Toras Tunila.
Trying to figure out the laps when the drivers went to the pit lane. I think Yep, I found the information. So Justinas Gidzavicius took the pit stop at the 34th minute, and Dainius Butvila took the pit stop at 35th minute, and both of the drivers were the last ones to pit. Does that have something in common?
Well, I don't think with less time in the race remaining that the pit crew suddenly becomes 15 seconds quicker at changing your tires.
Yeah, that's interesting. Not sure how that's related.
Sure, the stewards will have a look at how this pit stop was possible, but we'll leave it up to them.
Yeah, but that's big. That's a big difference. Well, 16 seconds is at least 16 seconds is quite a lot of time in a 1-hour race. But you get your positions. Dainius Butvila up to third.
It's about half a minute to Toras Tunila, by the way, in one pit stop.
Yeah.
Alex Eve, by the way, side by side with Gediminas Kirkšlaitis. This battle doesn't stop. They've been locked together since what feels like the first lap of the race. Still, Alex Eve still behind. He's obviously not taking that huge of a risk because he's up into P7 without really... I mean, he's driving a good race, but with other cars getting penalties and crashing out, he's got himself up into 7th position. And with the question mark on Dainius Butvila pit stop, maybe something might change still. But Alex Leaf is going to hunt for P6, continue to keep hunting for P6 in his 992 GT3R, fighting Gediminas Kirkšlaitis' 992 GT3R. And I don't believe there is a non-Porsche in the top 8. Dainius Butvila loses a spot to Dominikas Graudinis, who caught up quite a lot in quite a short space of time. Domantas Kniva still trying to get past Mantas Samulonis as well, but with no luck. So I do believe, yep, so the highest non-Porsche is right here. Dave Sparktronics, he's down in 9th position, or up in 9th position, as he's flying the flag for the Italian manufacturer as the only non-Porsche in the field, and he's actually caught up to Toro Stonila by quite a big margin. Gap down to 0.8 of a second. That's Toro Stonila in front of him.
Just want to make one small correction. He's not the only driver to be not a Porsche. We have another Ferrari, and I believe we have Kniva running in a McLaren. Okay, the highest. I overheard your statement. Sorry about that.
Because Manta Samulanes is in a Ferrari as well, though Kniva is in a McLaren.
Yeah.
But Dave is leading the non-Porsche
sure.
battle of this race.
My bad, I overheard you. By the way, Domantas Kniva is right on the tail of Mantas Samulonis still, and he's still not able to do anything about it. So it's been quite a... Well, he's been there for quite some time. Looks like he has the pace advantage. Well, he should have it, but he has no medicine on the racetrack to just use that advantage to get in front.
He's gotten stuck because once you get close, you kind of get stuck in the car ahead's dirty air, and it's hard to get the turns right. Why are we seeing a yellow on Simonas Urbanas? Could he have a penalty?
That's a possibility, but I've seen such signs on cars before already. Yeah, it's gone now.
Klopkinas off the road? No, Mantas Klopkinas looked like he was off the road.
Yeah, but
I'm sure I saw someone in the grass.
Yep, that's Mantas Klopkinas. That's indeed it is.
Let's have a replay. Let's see what happened here. Off the exit of turn 1, touches the grass and goes out exploring the British countryside here at beautiful Donington Park as the sun sets over the track. That was probably just for the track limit violation. We saw Simonas Urbanas get a yellow marker next to his name. I think Domantas Kniva is now trying to back off a little bit from Mantas Samulanes. Just so what I was talking about, you get stuck in the dirty air, and it's very difficult to make a move and get past the car ahead. What then you have to do is back off, cool off your tires, cool off your brakes, cool off your engine if you do need to, and then push again, and you kind of carry that momentum forward, and then it's easier to pass. Because if you're sitting right behind the car for a very, very long time, you can't get past. It's very, very difficult. If you back off and you go again, then it's a little bit easier.
Race control at work. A lot of small incidents, light touches, but nothing serious, nothing dramatic.
Simonas Urbanas had a touch with Mary Tamas, probably while lapping, I'm going to guess.
Yep, maybe that's why we had that mark.
Right, could be.
Yeah, but no further action on that, though Simonas Urbanas is at fault, but it was only a light touch. Alex Leaf and Gediminas Krikštolaitis got close together. Alex Leaf finished second in the first round. He's currently 7th, but he wants to finish higher in this race. 14 minutes remain, so we are surely coming to the end.
Side in DS's. And again, Alex Leaf actually pulls out of the move quite early. He doesn't want to push it, and that allows Gediminas Krikštolaitis to also brake quite early and make the chicane without an issue, but he doesn't make the hairpin that well, but still stays behind, does Alex Leaf. He tried that move before, but if Alex Leaf breaks early, then, well, Gediminas Krikštolaitis has an opportunity to break early as well. Alex Leaf, if he would try and really push it into the braking zone, Domantas Kniva, I think he had contact with Mantas Samulanes, and he let him back through. Yep.
Yep.
That's kind of a good indication that you had contact
Oh.
with someone. Manta someone is off the road because he's so surprised that someone's had an incident and let him through in sim racing that he's actually driven himself off the road as well. But Donington Park is showing good manners in today's race, and they're gonna keep on battling. Alex Leaf battling as well. That gap back up to half a second, maybe a bit more, 0.8. Actually, Dave Sparktronics has showed incredible pace to still be with Toras Tunila at just half a second, 0.8 of a second.
And actually, Dave Sparktronics is showing better pace at the second half of this race, and that's what surprises me the most. Toras Tunila was, well, he was looking like he's the one who might be challenging Simonas Urbanos for the win at the beginning of the race before he was involved in those accidents. Maybe his car is damaged, even though he had an early pit stop, but maybe it was not fully fixed. But Dave Sparktronics was nowhere near the pace of Toras Tunila at the beginning of the race. Now he's actually giving quite a big headache for Toras. To stay in front, Toras Tunila has to watch all the apexes and especially all the brake marks to try not to overshoot the corner, because, well, the smallest mistake and that might cause a position. Dave Sparktronics runs off the racetrack. Maybe he's listening to the stream and just heard the good words we were telling to the driver. He just made a small mistake that allowed that gave Toras Tunila a little bit of breathing room, and now he's a little bit too fast into the right-hander down the hill, which caused him to slow down even more. Gap extends to 1.3 seconds, and well, that's good news for Toras Tunila, who is struggling a little bit around the racetrack on the second half of the race. He's 3.7 seconds behind Alex Leaf, but he cannot do anything about it.
A really interesting... Oh, big slide. Really interesting that Dave Sparktronics has really upped the pace, because his fastest lap is at 26.7. And he...
Oh, Toras Tunila.
Toras Tunila made a mistake. Dave Sparktronics pushing him to the inside, pushing him to the grass. But Robin's racing because Toras Tunila is still on the inside. They touch! And still tough. Side by side. They touch again! And now Dave Sparktronics has to concede. Doesn't have a choice at the moment, but that's beautiful and tough racing between Toras Tunila and Dave Sparktronics. Lovely to see.
Domantas Kniva just received a small penalty, -1 SR. That's -1 safety rating point after the race.
That was probably for the incident where he backed off. Matas Mitkevich is really catching up to Danis Butvila as well. That gap now down to half a second. He's gained half a second in the last lap. This is how that lap has panned out. Lost it. Yep. Here it is back. About 2/10 a sector. Sector 1, just 1/10 gain for Matas Mitskevicius, who's closing in. Dave Sparktronics lost a second to Toras Tunila, by the way. That gap has extended and the battle's gone. I'm quite convinced that Danis Butvila did not change tires and forgot he needed to. Because his pace in this second stint has really not been there.
That would be a big shame. But if we would add 16 seconds to the race time of Danis Butvila, what position would he be at right now? I believe that would be position number 9.
I'm sure they wouldn't give him just a 16-second penalty. I'm sure it would be much, much more, like a minute.
Yeah, the penalty will be bigger. So I'm trying to figure out what he's about to lose. Anyways, he probably would be in lower position right now if that's the case. If he forgot to change his tires, or well, if something, a mistake happened in the pit lane.
Because his pace has really been down in the second part of the race, and look at that. Matas Mitskevicius can go to the inside even at this point of the track. Danis Butvila doesn't want to fight it too much. It feels like he knows he doesn't have the tire life to do it. Nope, still staying side by side, but into the S's. I think Matas Mitskevicius might just be able to make a move to the out. Yep, easily. Yeah, it does look like Daniels Butwell does not have the tires to sustain this pace.
Beautiful driving by both of the drivers.
That was very much off the track by Gediminas Krikštolaitis, exploring the gravel trap on the exit of the S's.
And that's not the first time we see Gediminas Krikštolaitis going that much off the racetrack. Well, what's with the penalty system?
Well, we've seen him do it 2 times. Let's assume that he's not done it any other time or any other track limit violation. He's got 1 more shot and 1 more life to...
Yep, that should be the case if that is so. What about Tauras Tonila? Well, we can understand the pace drop of Dainius Butwila because of the short pit stop, but the pit stop of Tauras Tonila is the longest of them all, and he's still struggling with the pace. Well, the pace is not bad, actually. His last lap time was 1 minute 27.0. That's actually faster than the...
I have a theory here.
Yeah,
I think Tauras accidentally refueled.
Yeah, that's possible. That's highly possible. And now he's with a heavier car.
Yep, I think that's what happened. I think he accidentally, his crew accidentally decided to put some fuel in the car, and
you have to.
Now he's running slower.
Yeah, you have to speak with your team manager. That's a race manager because that's not acceptable. But well, mistakes happen, and you have to deal with it.
12-hour race with 1 set of slick tires, so putting some fuel in the car would not be out of the question for this crew. But still, the battle goes on between Alex Leaf and Gediminas Krikštolaitis. And by the way, they gained 1.8 seconds to Dainius Butwila.
Yep.
Oh no, that was because he was being overtaken. Okay, 9/10. That's a lot. Okay, but maybe possible. Sure.
Well, the gap is 5 seconds. We have 6 minutes and 20 seconds remaining.
We'll be close.
It will be close. And don't forget that Matas Mickevičius has a 10-second penalty. He's currently roughly 7 seconds ahead of Gediminas Krikštolaitis and Alex Leaf, so that means he should lose 2 positions. Well, 3, if you count Dainius Butwila in.
Who we also assume might get a penalty.
Yep, might.
Might, exactly. He might get a penalty. So this is potentially a battle for 4th on the road. Or 4th position, could be. By the way, what happened to Dave Sparktronics? He's now lost 7 seconds.
Oh yeah, so he definitely made a mistake somewhere around the racetrack. Do we have a replay? I think we have a replay about it. So let's dive straight into it.
Oh. Did he touch anything? No, he gets away with that, but yeah.
But that happened on a relatively fast section of the racetrack, so you lose...
Leave to the outside, he's trying to make the move.
Still nothing.
That position, still nothing. Alex Leaf not being too aggressive, and I think that's pretty smart driving from him. That's how he got 2nd place last time.
Mantas Samulionis and Domantas Knyva battling in the background, side by side, touching again. Domantas Knyva has some warnings for the touches. Well, actually, he has a penalty for an incident before, but he wants that position so badly he doesn't care about it, and they the race as close as possible, not ignoring some rubbing.
Alex Leaf, by the way, is in front of Gediminas Krikštolaitis. We missed that one, but that is for the potential of P4. See if Domantas Knyva can try and make another move here. No, that was a strange place to try and make the move. He's just lost time. But Gediminas Krikštolaitis has lost that position to Alex Leaf. And Alex Leaf will be on a hunt for Dainius Butwila. Alex Leaf has looked quicker than Gediminas Krikštolaitis this whole entire race. So let's
But
see.
that's well, now he's in front, and he has a different view in front of him. He always had a car in front for his brake marks before. Now he has a clear track. Let's try and wait out to see if he'll be able to catch up with all those correct brake marks when he has no brake spot in front of him. But it looks like it's working out okay, and the gap is extending. It's already 1 second. And well, he's up to P6 now, but that actually might end up a P4. Don't forget. Well, of course, we know that Matas Mickevičius has got a 10-second penalty. We don't know what's with the short pit stop of Dainius Butvila and how that will work out after the race. Alex Leaf running wide. I think Domantas Knyva and Mantas Samulionis did touch again. This time Domantas Knyva is in front of Mantas Samulionis finally, and well, we have a replay for that because the move, it was not without a contact. This is a replay of what happened, and well, no surprise, you mostly get a chance into the final corner. Mantas Samulionis running wide, then he kind of tries to cut it back. I wouldn't blame this one on Domantas Knyva, actually. He took the inside, and it looked like Mantas Samulionis was a little bit too aggressive, too late to try and defend the position after he made a mistake.
It was a very light touch as well.
It
was
really
a very, very light touch.
Yep. Oh, and actually it's already sorted out. So it was a light touch and no decisions. Race incident. So Domantas Knyva has his 10th spot finally. 14 seconds behind Dave Sparktronics. 2 minutes to go. I don't see him finishing higher up the order in any way, and actually he still has to defend the position that he's running at right now, because Mantas Samulionis is not falling behind. He's still within the reach to battle it out. He's 0.8 seconds behind of the final corner, and
2 laps to go.
yeah, that's 2 laps to go. So starting the penultimate lap of the race. By the way, if you by any chance forgot who is the current race leader, that's your championship leader, Simonas Urbonas, and while we call out the drivers by their names, this is actually a team challenge championship. Oh, and that's the final lap announced. So Sean Clark Racing won the opening round, and Sean Clark Racing, with Simonas Urbonas behind the wheel, is looking to win the second round of the championship to strengthen his position in the overall standings. Laurynas Razas currently second, and he is quite ahead of Dominikas Graudinis. He should be safe with position number 3, but Matas Mickevičius, who is currently 4th, I'm pretty sure he is really happy about it, but he doesn't know that he has a 10-second penalty. That's of course an assumption by us. We don't know exactly if the drivers are informed during the race about the penalties or not, about the post-race penalties. But well, he doesn't have enough of gap to stay in 4th. And actually, he is losing. He should drop to P8. Tauras Tonila is really close to taking that spot away. He's currently too far behind. What's the gap? Trying
and then Dainius Butvila will likely lose that position as well. But this is Simonas Urbonas coming out of the penultimate turn, now coming into the final turn. And if in Suzuka it was not completely perfect because he had lost the lead for half a lap on lap 1, this time he decided he wants to dominate it from start to finish. He did lose that first place during the pit stops, but he's run away with this one. 12 seconds in front of Laurynas Razas, and he does it perfect this time, qualifying and race win. Laurynas Razas, well, he's had an adventure today, but he finishes 2nd. Dominikas Graudinis finishes 3rd, 2 positions up. Matas Mickevičius will finish 4th, but it won't actually be 4th because there will be post-race penalties coming up as well. Dainius Butvila, well, there's a big question mark on him. Alex Lee finishes 6th for the time being, 5th actually with Mickevičius' confirmed penalty, and then the question mark of the other penalty. Tauras Tonila in 8th, 9th for Dave Sparktronics, Domintas Kniva in 10th. 11th will go the way of Mantas Tamulones.
Yep, and they are still close together, so they both were on really similar pace because, well, Domantas Kniva managed to make that move, but he didn't get away. But he still kept that 10th position for himself. Andy Tokley will finish the race 12th. And are all the cars on the lead lap except Ainis Klimavičius. Andy Tokley finishes 12th, and I believe that's it. So all the other cars were already at least one lap down. Yeah, there we got it. And well, that wraps up our second round of the GT3 Team Challenge, and we already are able to see the results. So once again, the results of the second round are as follows. Sean Clark Racing take the win, Dream to Drive finish second, Godet Motorsport third, Rotoma Racing fourth. We are yet to see the penalties applied, but Matas Mickevičius will lose the position surely. Baklajani fifth. In the unofficial results, Sean Clark Racing B 6th, Beaver Grease Racing 7th, World Sim Series with Toros Tonila behind the wheel 8th, Sparktronics Racing Team 9th, Dream to Drive Junior 10th, Samulonis Racing 11th, Cineo Racing 12th, VGD Racing 13th, Finishus 14th, Overtake Land 15th, Falda 16th, Rocky Racing Team 17th, and 666 Racing taking the final spot on the grid with Aimantas Klimavičius behind the wheel. This is a team championship, but we actually see all the teams running only one driver. Maybe that's cheaper, not sure. We are yet to see a team who will race in this championship with two drivers. If you want to join the championship, it's never too late. It's only 2 rounds out of 6 rounds completed. You always get the chance to join mid-season. You have just to visit the World Sim Series platform, which is a website, worldsimseries.com, as you see on the right side of your screens, and try out your luck, your skills, and your durability, because this is a 1-hour race championship with 1 mandatory pit stop, so closely reflecting a endurance race system. You can get familiar with how all is being run in longer races in this mini endurance championship happening every second Sunday. So in 2 weeks time it is going to be the 3rd round, and I should try and figure out what track the drivers will be heading the next time.
Imola. We're going to Imola next time.
Oh yeah, that's a famous racetrack in Italy, 4.9 kilometers long. I think we will have a little bit more places on the racetrack for some moves. Imola has a couple of corners with with longer braking zones, and that's where usually the overtaking takes places. We've seen quite a lot of action, quite a lot of battles this evening, yet only a couple, well, 2 spots actually on the racetrack where you had a real chance to make your move stick. We've seen some bumping, some rubbing in GT3 cars. But overall, it was an exciting race, wasn't it, Gustas?
Absolutely. And we expect a lot more of that next time at Imola. Have a good night, everybody.